Why can't I hold myself accountable? Why is it that when I'm at work or when I'm at the job, I can do my stuff, I can do what I set my mind to do, I can reach my goals, but I just can't when I'm on my own? Why is it that the second that I enter my house, the second that I enter my room, I just collapse onto the sofa, I turn on some brain rotting series on Netflix, and I just rot away in front of my jar of Ben and Jerry's? Why is it this way? Have you ever asked yourself this question? I used to struggle with this a lot, that I felt like I was good when I was with other people. I could do what they told me to do. I was motivated. I was achieving goals, doing my tasks. But whenever I was alone, I just felt like I didn't have any control over what I was doing. I just didn't know how to tell myself what to do. And so, what I did for a lot of the times is I just didn't enjoy the time that I had by myself because I just couldn't do what I set my mind to do. And if you've experienced something similar, what you're experiencing is something that is called social facilitation. Basically, we are social animals. And when we know that someone is watching us, when we're in the presence of other people, and we know that we're observed, our performance gets better. Why is that? Because our arousal and alertness in our body is increased. We're basically trying to build a reputation with other people. We're trying to seem competent. We're trying to do a good job. And this motivates us and makes us excel. We are wired to succeed in front of other people. When you look at the brain when it's in the presence of other people, there's actually reward circuitry activated, making the act of being seen function like sort of an incentive, which makes it rewarding for us to do well in front of others. And this is why we feel motivated, why we feel energized when we're at work or at school, and why we feel like we get so much more done than when we're alone. Because the second that you get home, what basically happens is this reward falls away. This social facilitation goes so far that people even perform better at sports when they're around other people. So they run faster and they perform better when their teammates around or spectators watching their game, for example. You might think to yourself, no, okay, that's great, but I still struggle with setting goals for myself and holding myself accountable. And I basically get nothing done. I'm a slug when I'm alone. So what do I do? Basically, it would be nice to use this boost that you get when you're around other people, when you're alone, right? To have this reward circuitry activated even when you're alone, to feel that responsibility of performing, of making a reputation for yourself, not just when you're around others, but also when you're around yourself. So let's talk about what you can actually do to feel meaningful and to feel accountable even when you're by yourself, even when you feel like nobody is watching. So the first principle that you want to consider here is behavioral activation. Basically, what happens at work is we have very regular, intentional, and rewarding activities. Every time we reach a goal, there's a small dopamine peak, and we feel a little bit better when we answered that email, when we had that meeting. There's this pretty much a regular approval that we get from those activities. And these small goals and small tasks, while they might stress you out sometimes, they also add to your day. And what you have to do is you have to apply this. You have to make a schedule for yourself as well. You also have to break down your free time into small tasks, into small things, small victories that you can achieve for yourself. So the problem is when you get home is you have a constant flow of reward and also a little bit of stress and activation when you're at work. And the second that you get home, all of this goes away. The constant flow of reward is suddenly cut off. And what we often do then is we go from a strictly scheduled environment to no structure at all. And then what we do is we just indulge in dopamine rich activities. So we go and sit in front of this Netflix show and try to relax. And we're just tempted to indulge in dopamine rich activities, which in the long run don't really make us happy. So, what you have to do in your free time is you have to schedule what you're going to do from the second that you put off your shoes when you're in your house to when you go to sleep that evening. Really break it down into small tasks. It might feel weird at first to break down your free time into like a to-do list, but this is how our brain works essentially. We get small dopamine peaks from achieving tasks. But if you don't set tasks and goals in the first place, there's no way for you to get any dopamine from that. So this is what you have to do. You have to track what you want to do. Track when you achieve those little things. Track when you, for example, mop the floors. Track when you did your laundry. Track when you called a friend. Whatever. Do this in order to create a structure for yourself. So you have to really create a routine and a daily plan or habit loop, which helps you simulate this external accountability that you have at work when you're at home. And this keeps your brain circuitry for productivity alive and doesn't lead to this crash. You have to dial it down a bit. So what you can also do is you can imagine this social accountability. The problem is we often don't perceive ourselves as a person. We only perceive these other people as people watching us. What you have to learn is you have to learn to sort of judge yourself. You have to go into a dialogue with yourself and have yourself watch you. Maybe try to think of what you do when you get home. So tell yourself, okay, I'm going to take off my shoes now. Then I'm going to head into the shower. The second this monologue or dialogue in your brain stops is basically when you let yourself run freely and do whatever. If you really voice it out in your head what you're doing and you have to tell yourself, oh, I'm opening the Ben and Jerry's that I know I didn't want to open. I'm putting on this stupid Netflix show. I'm sitting down. I'm not even showering. You don't want to do that, right? You don't want to tell yourself that. But when you stop this internal dialogue, when you stop sort of watching and sort of monitoring what you do, this is what happens. So you can't let go of this self-control just because you're alone, just because you're at home. Imagine that you're also someone watching yourself and you're also holding yourself to certain standards, just like your bosses do, just like your friends do. Don't let yourself hang just because you're alone. You need to build the self-respect that it requires to still perform even when you're alone. Basically, we have this comfort misconception in our society right now. So most people believe that when they're feeling depleted or demotivated after work, the answer is to make themselves feel better by reaching for what's easy, a snack or a show, or scrolling through TikTok, avoiding the hard tasks that they know they need to do. But that is not the truth. Society is saturated with instant gratification options that trigger these short-lived dopamine bursts. But what you actually need is you need these tasks. You need this structure even when you're at home. So the same chemical that's supposed to drive motivation and reward here becomes basically your poison. So the kicker is over time, relying on these easy fixes lowers your baseline for motivation. It drains your ability to do hard things. So when you let yourself slide every time that you get home, you make it way harder to get up for work the next day and do the task that you're told to do. So when you let yourself go, this will backfire. You're either becoming better or you're becoming worse. By letting yourself go when you get home, you're becoming worse. These activities might give you some satisfaction in the moment, but they will leave you feeling less satisfied in the long run because your brain craves anticipated reward and not just pleasure. And there's a difference between the two. Dopamine is not about what feels good right now. It's also about what signals progress and achievement. Okay? So the dopamine that you need is the dopamine that you get from actually achieving hard tasks, achieving hard things. And this cheap dopamine that you get from these easy instant gratification fixes, it basically rewards avoidance and procrastination. And it teaches you all the wrong principles, all the wrong values. They teach your brain to look for the next hit and not for meaningful progress, which actually makes you happy. And this comfort loop that you get in, that you think that will make you feel good, it does not make you feel good. It keeps you stuck and it keeps you feeling unfulfilled because what you want is more and more and more of that. What will actually make you satisfied in the long run is this anticipated reward that you only get by scheduling activities and then going after them. And those shouldn't be those easy, fun activities only. No, they should also be things that you need to do and that you know that you need to do. You can also schedule fun things. This is also a hack. Schedule some social interaction in order to not make this hit from being at work, being surrounded by people all day, to being alone. Make it less harsh, you know? You can also schedule calling a friend or sending an audio, whatever. Going for a walk with a friend. But it's important that you schedule it, that you measure it, and that you don't just let yourself flow. Because if you don't schedule it, odds are it won't happen. A lot of the times people say, oh, this is way too controlled. We shouldn't be so fixated on to-do lists and tasks. No, but if you don't do it, if you don't plan it, if you don't schedule it, if you don't activate yourself, odds are it won't happen. So it's better to be in a sort of constrained list than to not have anything happen at all, right? So this is really what I would recommend you do. High performers prove that lasting motivation comes from accountability, from structure, and aiming for mastery every single day, not just in your professional environment, but also in your personal environment. When you track your progress and face the hard tasks, face the hard truths, and see a challenge through to completion, your brain gets far more potent, lasting reward than what you get from just doing whatever you feel like doing in the moment. So really do something hard every single day, because the easy road just kills your potential. And deliberate discomfort, which is essentially what you do when you do these hard tasks, this is what actually teaches your body and mind to handle adversity, stress, and fatigue. This will make you more resistant in a situation of stress. This will make it easier for you to deal with hardships in the future. And it rewires a response to challenge, because when you teach yourself over and over again that you can achieve those hard things, your brain will adapt and it will know that it can deal with those things. You know, it's essentially an armor that you're building, and it's confidence that you're building in yourself when you tell yourself to do something and then you do it. So practice discomfort regularly, like a muscle, and track every ounce of progress that you make. Why? Because measurement breeds results. Habit tracking actually triggers reward pathways. Every time you can tick that little square, you get a hit. And seeing your own streak, even if it's small, builds self-respect and motivation. You can do it. Even if you're the most lazy fuck when you get home right now, you can change. You can build habits. You benefit because you're no longer relying on hope or feelings, but just simple data and momentum that you're creating yourself. Nobody's coming to save you, and the world needs people who refuse to coast, who confront their own flaws, and who set concrete goals. Okay? And it's not just that the world needs you to do this, it's that you need to do, you yourself need to do it, because it will make you happier in the long run. Every single step that I told you in this video, like setting true goals and actually crafting your plan and doing the hard things, this actually changes your brain, your habits, and ultimately your reality. This will make you feel less alone and actually more motivated. It will give you more energy, despite what we popularly believe that it will drain you even more. So ironically, after a hard day of work, if you schedule even more, if you try to do even more, this will actually give you more energy in the long run. I'm not saying that you can never rest. That is also not right. But this excessive resting, this excessive relaxing that we do a lot of the times, it's actually harming us. So basically, I'm just telling you to get in the arena. Live like it matters. Live like you matter. Even when nobody's watching you, what you do matters. It matters to you. Watch yourself. Hold yourself accountable and track every move that you make. Demand more of yourself, because there is more left in the tank. I hope that you guys could take something from this video, and I see you guys in the next video. Bye.